Hello class, today we will be learning about the medium pen and ink, but specifically different techniques you can use for this medium. The materials you will need is a sketchbook, micron pens, or just a normal ballpoint pen. First, we will start off this lesson by drawing 4 rectangles, but make sure you leave enough space between the rectangles because we will be labeling them after we draw them. We will be labeling the first rectangle hatching, the second cross hatching, the third stippling, and the fourth doodle/scumbling. For these different techniques, I'm going to have you guys do a gradation with each one. Before we start drawing, we need to establish where our light source will be. I chose mine to be on the right side of the page, so the darkest part of my gradation will be on the left. First, we will be starting off with the hatching technique. For this technique, we will be creating uniform lines, making sure that these lines are going in the same direction. In today's lesson, we are just going to start off with creating horizontal lines. To make the values appear darker on the left, we will be adding more lines by placing them between the original lines we have drawn. It creates the illusion of it being darker. Just to do a little recap of hatching before we move on to cross-hatching, we must remember that lines flow in a unified direction, they don't cross, and value is adjusted by the spacing of lines. Next, we will be moving on to cross-hatching. We will begin this like we did with the hatching, but these lines do not have to be just horizontal or vertical or diagonal. Here you create additional lines on top of the horizontal lines. Here I chose to mix horizontal, vertical, and diagonal to ensure that I am getting those values. Still keeping in mind that our light source is coming from the right-hand corner, I am making sure that I'm keeping the left side darker by adding more lines. Just for a quick little recap before we move on to stippling. Cross-hatching is where lines cross over, and the greater frequency of lines produces darker values. For stippling, we will be making small countless dots to create a value range. Closer to the dots, the darker the value will be. This technique takes the longest, but it offers the best control in the range of values. The closer to the light source you get, the dots can be more spaced out. For a recap stippling, it is small dots, and greater the frequency of dots produces darker values. Make sure you pay attention to the space between the dots as you move through the gradation. Next, we will be moving on to doodling/scumbling. With doodling, which is also known as scumbling, we can be very loose with our marks. Essentially, we are scribbling to make different values. By making our doodles cross over each other, that is the way we will be creating the value. This is also a good technique to create texture. This is also the quickest way to build value out of the 4 techniques. For a recap of this techniques, the lines will cross over each other. Greater the frequency of lines produces darker values, and this is also more organic out of all the techniques. A good example of the scumbling technique is Vince Lowe. He's an artist from Malaysia and he makes scribble portraits of famous figures. Once you finish trying out the 4 different techniques, I would like you guys to draw a circle, pick one of the 4 techniques, and make a gradation towards the light source. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing all you guys' sketchbook pages when you're done.